This is the Mississippi Economic Council. We're the State Chamber of Commerce. We're a private, nonprofit organization. We're funded solely by our business membership, and we have businesses from all sectors of the economy across the state of Mississippi that are part of MEC. Today is our annual Capitol Day. It's always held the very first week of the legislative session, first Thursday of the session, because that gets us kicked off right from the beginning. It's a chance for people to come in from across the state, hear from legislative leaders, find out what's going on at the Capitol, and really get a feel for some of the issues that we'll be talking about throughout the legislative session.
When you look at the business community today and the importance the business community brings for the jobs and the economic well-being of our state, it's a critical success story for us. And when you also have to look back at the relationship that we have with the state legislatures and how the business community works directly with them for the benefit of our state.
One of the things that makes MEC Capitol Day so special is the timing of it. Every year since this event began, it's always on the first Thursday of the legislative session. Everybody's still excited, everybody's looking forward to what's going to. Somebody said that everybody's getting along, and I think that's a lot of what makes this such a fun event. But we're very glad that you're here with us today. I think we've got a wonderful crowd, a wonderful program, and without a doubt, a good day ahead of us. We're going to kick off this morning by hearing first from our chair of MEC, who is Dan Rollins. Dan is the chairman and CEO of Bancorp South. Dan is not a native Mississippian, but Dan has become a true Mississippian. He really cares about what we're doing in this state and has MEC focused on the right things and focusing on making sure we're moving our state forward in a very positive way. So please join me in welcoming Dan Rollins.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you all for being here today. We've got a big program in front of us. Look around the room and make sure you pay attention to all the businesses across the state with the banners flying around us. The business community is here in force, and it makes a difference for us. Good morning. Welcome to MEC Capitol Day, our largest legislative event each year. Capitol Day provides a great opportunity for businesses and community leaders to come together and learn about the upcoming legislative session, as well as visit with our state leaders. The private sector has a vital role in the legislative process and has an important partnership with our state leaders. Today is just one example of how MEC convenes top business leaders to advocate for issues that will make a meaningful difference in growing economic opportunities in our state. Our collective voice as a business community matters. Your attendance here today matters. We continue to focus on the development and implementation of long-term strategic agenda and how a thoughtful and deliberative process and approach is key to moving Mississippi forward. Throughout the fall, MEC's tour has been focusing on specific issues that will help foster sustainable economic growth throughout the state. Your feedback continues to tell us that we must work at developing a workforce that possesses practical skills needed for today's economy and stay focused on working towards the jobs of tomorrow and working at the future. Today, the topic that we're talking about is very important. The report Workforce of Today, Workforce of Tomorrow, the business case for high-quality childcare, has been Governor Phil Bryant's playbook when addressing early childhood education across the state. Today, we'll hear from those involved in the development of this report and why this issue matters to the businesses across our state. There have been significant strides, but a true coordination among public and private sector programs is vital to achieve the desired outcomes. We will also hear from our Lieutenant Governor, Tate Reeves, and Speaker Philip Gunn during our Capitol briefings a little later this morning, and they will outline what's ahead in the legislative session. As we head into 2019 legislative session, we are excited about the opportunities to work with our state leaders, our legislators, our community leaders, as we chart a path forward to continue to grow and improve on our state's economy. Focusing on the extraordinary will lead to a bright future for Mississippi. Thank you all very much for being a part of MEC's Capitol Day. Let's have a good day.
I'd like to take a moment to point out the fact that our board is what sets the direction of MEC. And our board is made up of volunteer business leaders from all across the state of Mississippi. And at this time, I'd like any of our board members that are with us to please stand and let us recognize you.
What I wanted to explain today is that while we've long thought of the K-12 schools as the key to developing children for future success, what science is now telling us is that critical development is occurring much earlier than we'd previously thought. That really grade level reading begins not at age 5 or 4 or even 3, but at birth. So what that means is we need to start thinking about the education pipeline in a new way to take account for the fact that these first 3 years are laying the foundation for everything that follows.
What recommendations do you have for Mississippi in this area?
Well, Mississippi is a national leader in this area. I've been extremely impressed with Governor Bryant's leadership around early childhood, and what he's been emphasizing is a 2-generation approach to early childhood development. What we're seeing is that many, many children are spending those first 3 critical years in childcare settings because their parents have to work. So by providing high quality childcare, which is what Mississippi has been focusing on, you are taking a 2-generation approach to moving families ahead together. So a child is having a high quality early development experience while a parent is able to go to work and move the family ahead financially.
Today I was here to talk about the importance of early childhood education, what's happening in the state of Mississippi, to share some of the good news about the $10.6 million grant we were just awarded to expand our family-based unified plan called Connected for Success that will help more children and families in the state of Mississippi. So to expand on Dr. Stevens' idea of how we help the workforce of today and the workforce of tomorrow is to talk about what's happening in our state today.
Over the last 7 years, he's focused on a variety of things, from our Mississippi Works program that got funding for additional job training, to making sure that we are educating our children in a way that they're ready to move forward with the 3rd grade reading gate. A variety of things that he has done has all had the single focus of making Mississippi a better place. And there's no question that as we think about what has happened over the last few years, the focus has led to some things in Mississippi that have made a difference. We're seeing our unemployment rate go down. We're seeing things happen with industry coming here that maybe we thought would have never happened. And it's all because of one thing that he has done. He has sold Mississippi. He is our biggest cheerleader, he is our best salesman, and he is our 64th governor. Please welcome Phil Bryant.
So much. Oh, good morning. Wow. Good morning. I know you needed that stretch for a moment there. How about those ladies on the panel? And Catherine Stevens. You know, almost 2 years ago, I read Catherine's report. I was perusing through some materials that Lori had given me, as she normally does, and I caught this report from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce about Workforce Today and Workforce of Tomorrow, and I had made a mistake one time, and I was talking at the Washington something another journal, newspaper, and they said, when did schools really become challenged in America? And I said, well, when both parents went to work, necessarily. Oh, my goodness, he's blaming working women. They went crazy. That was the worst thing ever. I tried to explain to them, but you've got to understand that then we started thinking about how do we put 4-year-olds in school? And it began to change the dynamic. What do we do with 3-year-olds? What do we do with newborns? So it began to challenge everything that we knew. We just had to solve that problem. Now, the great thing about where Mississippi's at now, as you've heard, and I'm so excited to hear, we're ahead of the curve on this one. Once I read Catherine's report and I looked at the science, I said, oh, now we know. I should have known better. But see, when we had children, we were very busy. Deborah was working at the hospital, and I was working full-time, and then I ran for office, and things really got complicated. But we would get our children home at night and read to them and work with them and help them learn those soft skills. Now we have grandchildren, 1 4, 1 2, and 1 9 weeks. All 3 of them were at the house last night. That's why Deborah was a little late this morning. But I can tell you, you can see them growing, and we were getting them ready for daycare, and they're going off to child care this morning, but I won't even tell you what my daughter and her husband pay for that child care. A lot. And those children will learn. I can assure you, I watched Eliza last night, a little 2-year-old, and she had one of these boxes that you put the stars and the moons and things in, and she couldn't get the top off of it, and she was frustrated. She brought it over to me, and I started to take it off, and when she saw me pull it, she stopped me. No, I'll do it. So she wanted to take it in and out. All I had to do was just show her, but she began to problem solve. She's really good at that. Now, Henry's creative. You know, he can play Transformers all day long. He can have an entire global war with Transformers, but he's there now, and we try to make sure that we have conflict resolution. You have some of that, don't you? Don't hit your sister. And there's Philip. Tell Philip, the youngest, 9 weeks. And when I'm talking to him, but more importantly, when his grandmother's talking to him, he starts to move his lips. Have y'all ever noticed that about babies? So just catch that. They're staring at you like, okay, you're talking, why can't I? And he looks a little frustrated like, you got words coming out and I want words. He's going to get there. But we're helping those children. They're going to be fine. But where I came from in Sunflower County, I'm not picking on Sunflower County, pick the Delta, pick Southwest Mississippi, where working moms now, and believe me, the number one reason that moms aren't working today, the ones that aren't, childcare. Childcare. Where do they put their children? So we are working now. We're spending about $98 million a year on federally funded daycare in the state of Mississippi. $98 million a year. About $200 million a year on Head Start. Only a portion of that is for those early learning children. But that's nearly $300 million. So we decided we better get something for it. So we started doing, as you heard, we started helping get a learning component within those child care centers. And then when we would find the mom, we'd say, what grade did you graduate from? Well, I dropped out of school because I had a child very early in life. Oh, let us help you. Let us get you back in school. Let us get you one of community colleges. So while we're there, we work with the entire family. How about the dad? Where's dad at? Is he working? Can we help teach him additional skills so he can get a better job? All of that, Andrea Mayfield is helping do at community colleges all across the state of Mississippi. Now, you heard earlier, we got a unique situation. I was thinking this morning, how did we get here? How did we get to a point where we're having an entire meeting with MEC, and thank y'all very much for doing this, on workforce development? We got here because there's a need. We used to have people looking for jobs. Now we got jobs looking for people. We got 43,000 job openings just now. 43,000 job openings in the state of Mississippi. I need to fill every one of them. So we're trying all that we can. We got 83, Mark, I think 83 WIN job centers across the state of Mississippi. So they're there for anybody that wants a job. We've got an award-winning app, Mississippi Works. You can go on there and find a job and apply for a job right there. Look at all the private entities that are out there that will help you find a job. We've got 4 regional workforce training directors across the state of Mississippi. Employment, the Department of Employment, I always call it Employment Commission. It used to be a commission. But Employment Security has a wonderful website that you can go and apply for a job. If you are looking for a job in Mississippi, there are easy ways to find it. And we've got to get everyone looking for one. So we've got to find out, not only can we help with that young child who needs that educational component, so our community colleges are helping teach those daycare workers, usually a young lady, usually getting paid minimum wage. She may have 12 or more 2-year-olds in a room. If I put you in a room with 12 2-year-olds, how long would you last? I would confess to something immediately. I'm telling you, think about, and I said, okay, you got to do it every day, and come back and do it again, and do it again, and do it again. And oh, by the way, I want you to teach these children problem solving. I want to teach them conflict resolution. I want to teach them team building. I want to teach them languages and shapes and letters and colors. Okay, you do all that. I'm going to pay you minimum wage. I'll check with you tomorrow. Doesn't work. Shazam, it doesn't work. So we got here by not recognizing how important it was for many years. And I can tell you, I was one of the ones that said, well, that's parents' responsibility. We can't have daycares doing that. Next thing you know, they'll be teaching them some social idea, and, we don't want that. No. We just want to teach language. We want them to be able to tell you what their name is, literally what their true given name is when they get to kindergarten. Sounds crazy, but at times they just exactly can't do that. There's a lot of work we've got to do out there, but it's exciting. And boy, we're making a lot of progress. Now, we got here by companies expanding. I was meeting with Jim and Bryant yesterday. Brian Cushis and Jim are here from Ingalls. I love to talk about Ingalls. I love building warships. Now, that's really, automobiles, we love automobiles, Nissan, Toyota, and I know I'm going to leave somebody out, but when you're building warships, you're like, warships. Dang right. Yeah, 70% of them the Navy's selling today were made in Pascagoula, Mississippi. Yeah, come get you some of that. Yeah, warships. And they got over 11,000 Mississippians and some Alabamians. That's okay. We got to help Alabama every chance we get. We really don't. But they sneak over the border. So that's why we need a wall between Alabama and Mississippi. No, I'm just joking with you on that one. But over 11,000 people are working building warships. And we need more people doing that. Because we're going to get more business in the future. And so what they have done, what Ingalls has done, is go out and adopt about 14 different schools, high schools. And they've gone into those schools and they've retrofitted them and they've funded them. And they said, let us teach the curriculum that they will need to be shipbuilders of the future. In places like Moss Point, Mississippi, and all along the Mississippi Gulf Coast. In areas where high schools are challenged. Not just because it's Mississippi. You saw earlier what Catherine said. It's happening all over America. A real challenge in public education. So states are going to have to step up and take charge. And that's exactly what we're doing. Now, I think I have one slide. Whoever the wizard is, there we go. So you see a few of the businesses, only a few, and I know somebody's going to come up and go, mine's not on there. This is as big as I can make them out. But we talked earlier about things like Amazon. I remember when we started talking with Amazon and folks said, oh, Amazon will never come to Mississippi. They're just too sophisticated for you. Here they are. 850 employees in Marshall County. Yeah, look at all the advanced manufacturing, aerospace industries, over 100 of them. The other thing that I will tell you is all of these that you see have been incentivized. Yeah, Glenn McCullough and I and the team at MDA and local counties and economic development folks, we took your money and we said, we will help you with infrastructure. We'll invest in workforce training if you will bring your company here. And they do. They do. So over 75,000 Mississippians, more Mississippians are working now than they were in December of 2011 when I walked into the governor's office. 75,000. Unemployment is at 4.7%, and it's been at or below 4.8% for the last 12 months in a row. So this is not an anomaly. This is not something that happened during the Christmas sales. And oh, by the way, what does that produce? Well, in the legislature, we used to call it revenue. Yeah, legislators like to appropriate. They're appropriators. That's a good word. And right now, they've got $90 million more to appropriate than they did last year at this time. Year to date, we brought in $90 million more dollars. 16% of it is high, in corporate taxes, 16% higher than it was last year in corporate income tax. Now, wait a minute, you say, oh, that can't be right because y'all cut taxes on corporations. Well, we're losing hundreds of millions of dollars. No, we're not. We're making money. We're making money. It's growing and thriving and expanding every day. Corporations are growing. Small businesses are expanding. They're wanting this workforce. We're just not sitting by and doing nothing about it. You heard some of the things that are happening this morning. You may have noticed that everyone up here had something in common. They're all women. I recognize that. That's why I asked them to come here. First lady came in, you notice I sat up straight. These women are absolutely remarkable in what they're doing, and they understand from a real-world concept of what we're talking about and how we have to help these children develop those soft skills. I will tell you that just this morning, U.S. News, I saw this before I left, our wonderful company, Enviva, that provides pellets for folks that don't want to burn coal in Europe and Scandinavia and the Far East, and I'm just tickled to death with that. But we provide those pellets. So this morning they're investing $140 million in a pellet mill, $60 million in ship-loading terminal on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and they will hire 90 new workers in Lucedale, Mississippi. That's just one example of what's happening, and we've got to get down there and help them. I had them at the mansion. We had dinner Monday night. We talked about how important it is, the forest industry in the state of Mississippi, and how happy I was that they were expanding, and what could we do for them. I said, you've already done it. You've created an environment in Mississippi where our company thrives and grows, and will continue to do so. We have a tremendous opportunity ahead of us. Now, I'm happy where we're at. Not satisfied, I'm kind of happy. I'm happy that we got the lowest unemployment in Mississippi's history. I'm happy that we got more children graduating from high school than any time in Mississippi's history. I'm glad for those 75,000 Mississippians. But I still understand there are those that need our help. There are those that need to have quality education starting at the earliest age. Science proves it. This is not something that's anecdotal. This is not something that we said, oh, well, it worked in California, it'd probably work here. That's what we used to do. We'd try to find one of those best practices and drag it to Mississippi, and not everything that works in California, thank goodness, works in Mississippi. But what does happen here is that Mississippi works. It works for everyone, and I want everyone here that can and that wants to be working. President Reagan once said there's no better social program than a job. So we're going to get everybody working. We're going to give them that opportunity to live and raise their family and enjoy the American dream right here in Mississippi. And MEC, the people in this room, you're helping lead the way on that. This is a remarkable moment I wished all America could see. And I've been to the White House, and I've talked to the president about this, and I've talked to Ivanka about this. And they listen. That's how, well, not how, but fortunately we got $10.6 million grant. Not to experiment, because we're doing such a good job. The government said, if we're going to invest in anybody, let's invest in Mississippi, because we know what they're doing. We can see what they're doing. They're having outcomes. And oh, by the way, this is just not 1 year. This could be an investment of $50 million if our programs produce what I think they will, and that's an educated workforce. Now, some people don't like federal grants. I had a couple of people on Facebook that said, oh, y'all taking that federal money. You betcha. Going to do it next year, and the next year, and the next year. Because Mississippi is going to do remarkable things. They're going to shock the world. As you just heard earlier, I go around the nation. These ladies go around the nation. I go around the world. And I am proud to tell of the successes of Mississippi and what we're doing here. Thank you for what you are doing. This will be the last time I'll speak to you as governor. It's finally here. We're about to escape. Deborah and I have enjoyed our time of service in the governor's office. I can tell you no one has worked harder and done more good for this state than the First Lady. So as we leave here, we want you to know that your help, your support these 7 years has made all the difference. All the difference. Realizing that we can come here, we can show you this science, we can tell you we need investment, we can ask you to reach out to community colleges, to high schools, to daycare centers, and achieve greatness, and you will do it. And we'll be standing there beside you. Thank you for what you do. God bless you all.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you again.
MEC today highlighted early childhood. Tell us, why did you select this topic?
Well, it's something that's really at the forefront right here in Mississippi, because to be honest with you, I think a lot of people don't understand some of the strides that are being made there. between our early childhood collaborative, which really is focusing on like the pre-K 4-year-olds, and some of the things that Governor Bryant is doing through additional dollars through other federal funding and other departments to really put money into child care centers to help early child care education at all ages from birth up to starting school is starting to make a difference. We're seeing it in our numbers of prepared students, and I think that's where we are. The reason the focus today is we still have a ways to go. We still have a number of students who are not being served properly or don't have access to a quality child care facility that provides that educational component. And I think that's why it's so important to focus on it, because we need to continue to do that, because it does have an impact on the workforce. The education side of it is evident. You're going to build a better foundation. That means greater success when the child gets to school, greater success in high school, opportunities to do well in college, and are on a technical career pathway, and both are extremely important, and then success in the workplace. But what we see today is having access to quality care allows the mom, the dad, others to be able to go to work, be part of today's workforce, knowing they have their child in a quality child care center that's getting the type of experience and programming that's going to make them have that foundation for success in the future.
What is the value of business being able to have one-on-one relationships with legislators as we're seeing here today?
Well, the legislators can make better decisions for us as the community, as for us as the citizens of Mississippi, when they fully understand what's impacting individual businesses. So business leaders that take the time to come to Jackson, spend time with their legislators and explain what's happening in their individual businesses is always better for the legislators as they look to benefit our state.
MEC is an organization that brings businesses from all across the state, all sectors of the economy, all sizes of business, and we speak as a unified voice to make things happen in Mississippi.
How can people get more information?
It's real simple. MEC.ms, just MEC.ms, that's our website.